We transmit large amounts of data around the world through glass fiber. So how glass is deployed today and what the future of it will bring, we can only dream of today. Or maybe those advancements are closer than we think. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Gabrielle Allen, the Marketing Director, Consumer Network Corning Optical Connectivity, LLC. Gabrielle is the Consumer Network Marketing Director, where she leads the marketing strategy for optical cables by Corning and other consumer electronic solutions worldwide. Since joining Corning in 2012, Gabrielle is focused on Thunderbolt TM and USB 3 optical cables by Corning. Over the past decade, she's held various critical marketing and branding positions in consumer electronics, healthcare, and the fashion industry. Most recently, she was the marketing manager for Dell's consumer small and medium-sized business monitors. Away from work, she volunteers as a guardian at Litum for Children for the Department of Social Services system. She previously served on the Alumni Board of Trustees for the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. She holds a master's degree in marketing from Duke University and a master's degree in design history from Bard College, bachelor's degree in art history from Williams College. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gabrielle Allen.
Thank you, Jim. Pleasure. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you've been enjoying the conference as much as I have. There's been a lot of really interesting topics. And as Jim mentioned, not everyone necessarily thinks about glass as part of information and communication technology. I'm going to show you how that's true, that we are a part of it, a big part of it, and how we're enabling the future. As Jim mentioned, I also have a background in design, so I'm going to indulge in a little bit of history with you. So, let's see, slides. All right, there we go. Glass was invented around 2000 before the Common Era in Mesopotamia. They originally used it in little molds or put a core and an empty core that then they would destroy and mold it around it. Glass evolved through the Roman Empire, Islamic glass. We saw early Anglo-Saxons use it. They buried it with people, and then they went ahead and started putting it into buildings as windows. Where it starts getting interesting in the terms of communication is, there we go, stained glass. So you're going stained glass communication. Actually, it was one of the earliest forms of propaganda. The church used stained glass to show the majesty of God. Think about a time that was a lot of dust and dirt, but this was colored glass in these giant Gothic and Romanesque buildings. I'm sure they believed in the majesty of God seeing that. We saw glass evolve in the 14th century in France to other forms of glass windows. They would blow it and then press it flat to make windows. This is called crown glass. This came around about the 14th century. Then we saw lead oxide added. It allowed for a much clearer glass. This happened in England around the 17th century. A man named Ravenscroft, and this is actually one of his pieces that you see here. If you ever decide to come visit Corning in upstate New York, that's on display at the Corning Museum of Glass. Glass further evolved through Verona in Italy, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, but then we see it as a building material. The Great Exhibition, I'm going to learn how to use this eventually. The Great Exhibition in 1851 saw glass saw the Crystal Palace using glass as a building material on a scale never before seen. So really saw a change. And then in 1887 in Yorkshire, England, we saw the first automated, it was actually called a semi-automatic bottle process. It was created by a man named Ashley. And then this is the patent you see there. So we saw a big shift in a couple of thousand years. What does that mean today? So Corning, we've been involved since the beginning of the modern era, where we start going into mass production. You may or may not be aware, we made Edison's first light bulb. We also are also very famous. This is the one I get the most when I go out and speak to people. They're like, Corning, my mother likes your pots. We made those great glass pots and Pyrex dishes that seemed virtually indestructible. We also see things like the glass fusion process, and what that is where they pour the glass over and it meets in a single pane. That's how we get some of the large cover glass that you see in televisions today. One of the other ones that everyone loves is the scratch-resistant glass. We are famous for Gorilla, and this one, I can't help you if your phone is broken, I promise, but it has improved a lot of our lives and saved me on a number of occasions. My personal favorite, last year we launched Thunderbolt and USB cables. Very, very strong, durable, and allowing you to break the distance barrier of copper. So big pipes for a lot of data in a thin form factor. But this isn't about me doing a plug for Corning, just trying to give you an understanding of all the different ways that we've been involved. So, glass enabling today. As Jim mentioned, we use glass in a lot of different ways. TV, big screens. We have our cell phones and other touch-enabled devices. They might be big screens in fancy hotels or in train stations where you're negotiating for where you're going next and buying a ticket. Data infrastructure relies on a lot of fiber optic technology. And we see fiber now allowing us to do things like distributed antenna systems, where we pump the signal for wireless at places like football stadiums and conference centers, providing, when there's thousands of people like those of us here today, ability to get online without crashing a system. So that's today. What's coming next? Oh, I missed one. Pardon me. So this is also a view of the fiber infrastructure. So you see everything from submarine to school systems to data centers to fiber to the antenna. Fiber is enabling all sorts of different systems that provide our data infrastructure. So, demand is growing at a tremendous pace. We've been talking a lot today about the Internet of Things. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm tracking everything with my Fitbit. I check my security system on my phone, and that's just today, right now. But things are changing and growing. We see more items every day, and many that you are working on for tomorrow that will be part and parcel of everyday life. We see people creating their own content in a way we never have before, whether it's with phones or cameras, traditional cameras, or even just blogging on the run. We see content in a way that is part of everyday life. The news is often shown with videos that someone captured on their phone. We see people watching things on a number of different devices, whether it's telephones, laptops, iPads, tablets, big screens, all of them. And we're storing it all in the cloud. To give you just a glimpse of what's coming, in 2016, we will hit the threshold of a zettabyte in IP traffic. So a zettabyte is 1 billion terabytes. That's huge. And according to Cisco, in the visual networking summary they did in June of this year, they said that in 2018, video IP will be 79% of consumer traffic. That internet to TV will double from what it was in 2013, just last year. Wireless and mobile traffic will become 61% of IP traffic. Half of the traffic will be non-PC devices. And the number of those IP connected devices will be more than double the population. So we're going to see more data created by all sorts of different people, stored in the cloud, and we're going to want to watch it anywhere at any time. How is that going to be possible? How is that going to manifest? We'll see things in the connected home like photochromic glass that would be part of your overall connected home. Imagine waking up to the natural light just because your windows knew it was time for you to get up. I don't know about you, but some of us with blackout shades, when I installed those, I was late to work 3 days in a row. I had to sleep with one window open. With photochromic glass, I wouldn't have to worry about that. I could get the blackout feature during the night, and then they'd open automatically, but it wouldn't be shades, it would be the glass itself. We could also see architectural display glass used in ways we haven't before. What if the window or the mirror in your bathroom were also a display, a touch display that you would interact with? You could get your news, watch television, check the weather, send an email, all of those built right into your mirror. The surface, your kitchen surface, could be both a display but also thermoconducting. So you could have a cooktop as well as a display, again, completely interactive. Or similar features on the front of your fridge. In this picture, you see a little girl drawing on a picture of she and her sister on the front of her fridge. We see advancements in this coming by the minute, by the day. It's not just in the house, it's also on the road. More of that photochromic glass, but again, automotive. While at the same time, it can be lighter, reducing emissions, and it could be incorporated into the display of your car. So not just a little display on the front, but imagine the whole panel being a piece of interactive glass. What if the signs interacted with you and your car? They knew where you were going, what the traffic was, and changed with you and the traffic pattern around you. And then when you got where you were going, large scale glass, large architectural glass that was again interactive with video and digital signage in ways we have yet to see. We'll also interact with this glass in new ways. So we've all seen the future coming multi-touch tables that many of us can use at the same time. I was having lunch yesterday with some gentlemen, and they were telling me that someone in, I believe it was Finland, is working on a new version of this. But imagine if it was so ubiquitous that not only would it be in schools, as this image is here, but also it would interact with large wall displays. And you could toss things up from your workspace onto the wall while having a video conference and sharing that same information with others around you. And then this is the one that always gets people. that roll-up flexible glass. We've actually invented it already. The glass is there. It's called Willow. We are just waiting for the industry to demand that we move forward. So feel free to continue calling your friends in manufacturing and say, when do I get that flexible glass? Because it's out there waiting for us. Also, we see glass that's 3D projection enabled. So imagine if your tablet also projected things. You see an image of this one showing the time on a little girl's tablet, telling her it's time to get up. That 3D glass could work in other ways. It could be part of the medical industry, allowing us a different way to interact with imagery. So not only are you getting slices of the human brain, but a 3D replica that doctors could interact with. Speaking of the medical field, we're also looking at pushing the antimicrobial, antibacterial glass that has been recently launched into other spaces to keep us all better safe and protected from the germs around us. And then to go back to what we started talking about, we see glass optical fiber doing things that allow us to create that data, move that data, and put it in places quicker, faster, and without those buffering timeouts that you and I are all frustrated with. And lastly, we'll see optical fiber in new and different ways. Everything from lighting to integrated into clothing fabric. Imagine bicycling down the road and your jacket had woven glass fiber in it that could light up and help the drivers around you be aware of your presence. So there's all sorts of different ways that glass will be a part of our future. And I'm here today to encourage you to continue thinking about new and different ways that it can be incorporated into what you do. And for you to go back and ask those you work with to make it happen, to bring it to your homes, your lives, your industries. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, my email is on the screen. I'd be happy to speak to anybody. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of the show.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
If you'd stay with us for a moment, we have a little small gift for you. Now, while we're waiting, you have some amazing videos on your site. Can you tell the audience where they are and how to get at them?
Yes, actually, all of those images that you saw about the future were taken directly from Corning's A Day Made of Glass. To brag on us a little bit, it's the most successful corporate video of all time. It's gotten over 25 million views on YouTube to date.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'm sure the audience will enjoy that. Thanks again. Please.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.